Hey, this is Class Creatives.
Give you things that you can count on 100% of the time, every single time that you sculpt any face. Okay. So even though that we are doing something stylized, we still want to put in as much anatomy as we can. So whenever anyone's looking at it, they're not trying to make it fit into their brain, because we naturally when we see something off on a face, we can immediately see that, regardless of whether you have an artistic background or not. People can always tell, oh, that face is kind of off. So let's talk about some things that we can keep, that we can use. Okay. So if you don't know, up here, let me get this is my own UI, so I'm going to go to this one. But we have Z add and Z sub over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to turn on RGB, and then I'm going to select a color over here. And it's going to be red at first, but as soon as you start drawing and then move it, it's going to turn that off. Okay. So let me see, get this alpha off. Okay. So some things that we want to keep in mind. One, we have this ear hole, right? So everybody's got one of those. And right above that, what we want to do is we want to draw a straight line. And what we're going to reach is the very bottom of our orbit here. All right. This is called your, we're going to refer to this as your orbit.
Quick pause to introduce today's video sponsor, Class Creatives. They offer a top ranked game design curriculum online. You'll have access to instructors with over 25 years of professional industry experience and over a decade of accredited university level instruction. Get started today for free with a link in the description.
Next, what we're going to do is just go obliquely down or at an angle right here, and that's going to line up with the bottom of our nose as well. So regardless of what you're doing, what style you're doing, if you get these two things right, you're in a very, very good position. Okay. So we have the orbit here. So I'm going to mark that in green right here. And what we want to pay attention to is this infraorbital furrow right here. Okay. Regardless of your weight, regardless of your age, it doesn't matter. You're always going to see that. So whenever I look at that, that's also going to be right there. That's what he's hinting at in shorthand, right? So we want it to come from the corner of our eye. Here he's kind of hinting at it, and we've got a very cartoony eye, but we still want this to be kind of like a landmark right here. Okay. And if we kind of draw a line, he's almost got that that bottom of the zygomatic here. Okay. So the widest part of the skull is going to be the back third here. Okay. That's always going to be the widest part of the skull. It can be up a little bit, it can be back a little bit, but the back third of the skull is going to generally be the widest. Now, the widest part of your face is going to be the zygomatic arch right here. Okay. And why that is if you open and close your mouth and you put your finger right here, you're going to feel your temporalis flexing and contracting, or stretching and contracting, stretching and contracting. And that's because it's attaching right here to your coronoid process right here. So whenever you open your mouth, let's see if we can grab this. Let's go. So right now, what we have is we have one polygroup, right? And so what I want to do is I want this this jaw to be a separate polygroup. So you can do it two ways. You can grab just a piece of it, and you can press Control Shift A, and it will bring everything up. And that's because these are two separate pieces. Okay. But if it's all one piece, then it's just going to bring everything back. So you can go here, Control Shift A, and it will show everything associated with that polys, with those polygroups, or with that mesh. I'm sorry. Or you can go here to auto groups, and it'll automatically group separate pieces of geometry here. So this is kind of almost indistinguishable. So we're going to go with that. So whenever, so I'm going to hold control and click here, and that's going to mask the mesh that that I've clicked on, or unmask the mesh that I've clicked on and mask everything else, which can be very useful. The next thing I want to do is I want to reorient my gizmo right here because it's kind of off in aligning itself to the normal. So I'm going to hold Alt, and you're going to see this little lock, unlock and lock, right? So I'm going to unlock it and do that, right? If I didn't do that, then it would have, then we would get this result, which we don't want, right? So I'm going to hold Alt, unlock it, and then reset this orientation. So whenever we open and close our mouth right here, it's going to pull on this coronoid process right here. Okay, and it's going to stretch your temporalis. So let's unmask this, turn off polygroups, and let's go to something a little bit more visually exciting. So right here is going to be your temporal arch right here. Okay, so this is where all of your temporalis is going and feeding into this coronoid process right here. So that's the reason that we have this arch right there. Okay, what we can do is we can start applying this. So we can see that the widest part of the head is in front of the ears when it should be behind the ears, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press B, M as in mother, V as in Victor, and that's going to bring up my move brush right here. And then I'm going to press S on my keyboard, and that's going to give me a nice, this little slider for draw size. And I prefer to do this because I can kind of see how big the brush is going to be. You can also do it up here, but you only get like half of the brush, and it's, you never know how big you actually need it. I mean, you can guesstimate it, but then you're going to have to go back up here and then do this. So hotkeys will save you lots and lots of time. So what I want to do is I want to kind of adjust this a little bit more. So we want to bring that in, and then behind the ear is where I want to make it the widest. Okay. So now we've got this. Has anyone seen Aliens? All that stuff. So just think of like an alien egg, right? Like that. Just boom, alien egg. Okay. So it's going to be more narrow up front, wider in the back, and then we're going to have the back of our skull. Okay. And so the highest point of your skull, let's take a look at that, is also going to be behind your ear, right? So it's going to, it's not going to go up and then back. It's going to kind of slope, and then it's going to reach the peak around here, around your ear hole, and then it's going to dive down. So that's what we want to do here, right? So this is a little bit too far straight up. So we want to bring this back, bring that down. This is going to be the highest point, and then we're going to dive back. Okay. So straight across from the nose is going to be the bottom of your skull, or your occipital protuberance, if you want to call it that. And so we're going to go right there, bring this down. Okay. So let's see. So the next thing is we want to be very careful about how concave our throat is, because we need to imagine taking a deep breath and it would just stop right here, right? It would have to go back and then go down our esophagus. So you want to imagine that the air is going down, and that's kind of where our throat needs to be, right? So what we need to do is we need to bring this forward a little bit more. And so what we have are a couple bones in here. All right. We have our thyroid and our hyoid bones. That's what this one is. Let's see. That's what that one is. And that's what this one is. Okay. Now, male and female both have these, this is often referred to as the Adam's apple, right? It's just less prominent on females due to the lack of testosterone and more prominent on males because of their abundance of testosterone. Okay. So since we're doing Superman, we want to kind of hit that Adam's apple or that thyroid cartilage right there. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I appreciate all of you. If you have any questions, try to do my best to answer those as soon as possible.